Hello everyone, this week's parasha is Parashat Vayetze. Parashat Vayetze is very unique in its structure that makes it different than every other parsha in the Torah. What makes it different is it is written from beginning till end with no breaks. Now, if you look through the Torah, you will see that certain areas have small breaks and certain areas have big breaks between different topics or different parshas, but they're called parashot ptuchot and parashot stumot. A small break is a parasha stuma, and a big break is a parasha ptucha. But in the whole story, in the whole parsha of Vayetze, it is considered one parsha, no breaks, nothing to stop the continuity of the story of Yaakov. Now the question is, what difference does it make? So, the structure is a bit different. The Sofer must have written it a bit closer together. But it's not that. There is a reason that it's written like this. We say, Torat Hashem Timima. The Torah is perfect. It's complete. Which means, when we read in the Torah, and there's a word that sometimes says with a letter and sometimes without, sometimes with a vav, sometimes without, sometimes with a yud, sometimes without, the Torah chooses to use this word as opposed to that word. This means things. It has implications. And there have been books that have been written about why this word has this letter and why it doesn't have that letter. And in other places it's written the other way. And these things actually have implications. So over here, we have the Torah written in a specific way. And the question is, so what? What difference does this make? The rabbi that talks about this is the Sfat Emet, and the Sfat Emet says the point that the Torah is making by writing this as one continuous story is to show us that Yaakov never loses focus. Yaakov leaves Israel and he goes for a purpose and he never loses his concentration. He never forgets why he's there. He's going to marry, he's going to make some money, he's going to come back. That's it. But reality is a bit more complicated. He comes there and Lavan, his father-in-law, tricks him and gives him the older sister, Leah, as opposed to giving him Rachel. And then after he gets Leah and he needs to work for her for 7 years, then now he gets Rachel and he needs to work for her also for 7 years. So now he's got that amount of time. And then while he's working, Lavan keeps on changing his salary and keeps on trying to make Yaakov codependent. So Yaakov is forced to stay with Lavan without ever the option of getting up and going. And Yaakov never loses focus. Yaakov uses the same words that his mother uses to describe his journey. Yamim achadim. Several days. How long was Yaakov there? For several days. How long was he actually there for? 20 years. Right? He's there for such an amount of time, but he refers to it as a state of mind. I was there for several days. His mother says, go find a wife, be there for several days until your brother calms down. A state of mind. This is a challenge that not everybody is capable of dealing with. And we have this in every field. We have people who are going as shlichim, going to help out Jewish communities that say, I'm going for a year, and end up being there for longer because the mindset changed. We have people who are going for a specific job and saying, well, if I go now to America and I go for a year, this will be really good for me, but then after a year you get offered suddenly double the salary. So you say, okay, I'll stay for another year. And then after they say, look, we'll also throw in a house and a car, and then you get stuck for longer. The point is, Yaakov doesn't lose focus. What am I here to do? What is my goal? My goal is to find a wife, start a family, wait for Esav to calm down, go back home. That's it. Don't lose focus of what you're here to do. And in our lives, we have that nonstop. Right? So we have those examples, but we have 1,000 other ones, being stuck in a job with no future just because we got comfortable. But what was our mindset? What did we want to get out of this world? What did we come here to do? We know before we were born what we were coming. We are programmed for this. Our neshama has this conversation with God. God makes a promise that it will come back to Gan Eden, to paradise. And then we come down to this world and we get confused. And we forget why we're here and what we're supposed to be doing. And after we forget all of that, sometimes we remember to, do some good and try to actually head back in that path. And after that, we go back up and say, oops, we lost our way. We forgot completely. And the Sfat Emet is telling us, the Torah is writing it in this way to show us Yaakov never lost his concentration. He knew why he was going. He knew that he had to eventually leave. And he never forgets to come back. Don't forget to come back. Shabbat Shalom.